Welcome to the Acceptable Use Policy Primer by Emily Marshall. So what exactly is an AUP? According to M86, an AUP is a written agreement signed by teachers, students, and their parents that outline the terms and conditions of internet use, rules of online behavior, access privileges, and penalties for violations of the policy. Although acceptable and unacceptable uses can vary from policy to policy, there is a general guideline. Some examples of acceptable use include conducting classroom activities, research, peer review of assigned work, exchange of project-related ideas, creation of media for classroom purposes, communication between students and teachers and parents, and other uses in accordance with the Code of Conduct and school policies. Some examples of unacceptable use include the posting or distribution of offensive or threatening material, participation in chat rooms not sponsored by the school district, tampering with another user's computer, email, or files, hacking, which is the attempted unauthorized access to a computer or electronic device, or any use that violates the Code of Conduct or any laws. So what exactly should you look for in an AUP? Of course, you always want your document to have a purpose so that the people reading it know what it's used for. Acceptable and unacceptable uses, as we've discussed, consequences of misuse, internet safety guidelines such as not revealing personal information, definitions of ambiguous terms, and student and parent signatures. Robinson ISD has an AUP for employees and one for students. This is not all-inclusive, and I encourage you to check out the acceptable use policy at the link below in order to understand it before signing it. However, some highlights include the following. The district system will only be used for administrative and educational purposes consistent with the district's mission and goals. Under no circumstances can you allow a student or your children to be on your workstation, and the district may suspend or revoke a system user's access to the system upon violation of any policy or administrative regulations regarding acceptable use. Another important thing to understand is netiquette. You should always present yourself as a professional when using the district system. Therefore, you should always be polite and use appropriate language. Swearing, vulgarity, ethnic or racial slurs, or other inflammatory language is highly prohibited. Pretending to be someone else when sending or receiving messages, transmitting obscene messages, revealing personal addresses or phone numbers, or using the network in any way that would disrupt the use of the network by others is prohibited. Next, the student policy. This policy can be found in the student handbook at the link below. Although similar to what we've already discussed, some unacceptable uses include copyright violations, posting or distribution of messages that are obscene, vulgar, profane, sexually oriented, pornographic, highly offensive to others, or highly threatening to others, tampering with anyone else's computer, using the computer to violate the student code of conduct, or any use that would be unlawful under state or federal law. The electronic policy at Robinson ISD is that students are not allowed to have any electronic devices in school. Approved use is granted by campus administration for uses in common areas, and teachers may grant permission only in their class for a specified day and time. Students who do not abide by this guideline will have the unit confiscated and returned at the end of the school day. So where exactly do we go from here? The next step is to introduce our AUP to students and parents. With students, you should review the policy line by line, explain any terms that are ambiguous, and answer any questions they have. Additionally, we encourage you to lead discussions about acceptable versus unacceptable use. With parents, it's very important that we provide copies of the policy in their first language. Give them the opportunity to ask questions, and make sure that we provide an overview of the policy's importance. Next is implementation. As we already discussed, we need to explain the policy in detail. Students should understand the policy completely before being expected to abide by it. Review the policy on an ongoing basis as needed. You should be constantly modeling good behavior for your students. And consistent enforcement of the policy is key. You should consist all of the rules all of the time. If you have any questions, you can send them to me at emarshall82@aol.com. And here's a list of resources and graphics used in this presentation. Thank you.